She has arrived at On Lok Yun. The city is still quiet, and she decided to treat herself to breakfast at On Lok Yun, a classic old cafe tucked away in the heart of the city. As she approached the cafe, she was pleasantly surprised to find no long queues snaking out the door. Mama felt lucky to have beaten the crowd. This place was a relic of the past, with its worn wooden laminated chairs, vintage tiled floors, and walls adorned with faded photographs that told stories of decades gone by. Stepping inside, she was greeted by the solace aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Yummy! For all of you Javaphiles who are watching this video, comment down below. She glanced at the simple menu, knowing what she wanted. Steamed white bread, kaya spread, 2 soft-boiled eggs, a side of ham and sausages, and a cup of old-school Thai-style coffee. Yummy! Her food arrived, and without hesitation, she sprinkled a generous amount of ground white pepper over the eggs. Soft-boiled eggs, which was perfectly runny, ready to be dipped with the bread, served open and without the shells, followed by a few drops of liquid seasoning. The aroma of the pepper mingled with the rich, creamy scent of the eggs, creating a mouth-watering combination. She gently mixed the yolks with the seasoning, creating a creamy, flavorful pool that was perfect for dipping. Next, Mama picked up a piece of the steamed white bread, its soft, pillowy texture, and dipped it into the seasoned egg mixture, letting it soak up the rich, golden liquid. The first bite was bliss, the bread, a dish that might make some cringe at the thought of gluten, but a favorite for her. Fluffy and slightly sweet, paired perfectly with the savory, peppery eggs. The flavors melded together in a way that was both comforting and indulgent, a reminder of her when she was still in Singapore, where she orders this in Hawker Center in the morning. The kaya spread with its sweet coconut richness added a touch of indulgence without overwhelming the palate. The ham was salty and slightly sweet, a perfect complement to the creamy eggs and soft bread. The sausages, juicy and flavorful, added a hearty layer to the meal. Between bites, she sipped her coffee, its bold aromatic notes cutting through the richness of the food. Then the house tea, light and simple. After finishing her meal, Mama took the bill to pay, and it cost her this. There was nothing particularly extravagant about this breakfast meal. No elaborate dishes, no fancy techniques, no exotic ingredients. Yet, it was precisely this simplicity that made the meal so special. She made her way to the metro station. She needed to buy a metro card to continue her journey. She approached the counter, and the attendant asked to see her passport. She wasn't entirely sure why this was required, as she hadn't expected to need identification for such a routine transaction. Still, she reached into her bag, retrieved her passport, and handed it over without hesitation. Mama thought that this was for identification, and then proceeded to issue her the metro card. Once she had her metro card in hand, she continued on her way. With no exact plan in mind, she decided to spend her time exploring Bangkok at her own pace, letting the city guide her steps. The vibrant streets, filled with the scent of street food. She wandered aimlessly, soaking in the sights and sounds, allowing herself to get lost in the maze of alleys and busy roads. Every corner seemed to a new surprise. As she wandered through the bustling streets of Bangkok, she stumbled upon a unique street vendor selling fried chicken from a cart. The setup was simple yet ingenious. A small cart attached to the bike held a compact fryer, a stack of fresh chicken pieces, and a few containers of seasoning. The vendor pedaled slowly through the neighborhood, stopping occasionally to serve customers. The aroma of sizzling chicken drew Mama in like a magnet. Curious and not so hungry but ready to eat, that's a very confusing feeling, she approached the vendor and gestured towards the chicken. She watched as he expertly dipped the chicken pieces into a seasoned batter and dropped them into the hot oil. The sizzle and crackle of the frying chicken were encouraging, and the smell was irresistible. Her order was ready, a piping hot piece of fried chicken wrapped in a plastic bag along with a portion of fragrant Thai rice, and handed it to her with a small bag of spicy dipping sauce. She looked around for a place to sit and eat. The vendor gestured to a small stool tucked under his bicycle cart and offered her his stool so that she would sit down and eat her food. Mama gratefully accepted, touched by his kindness. Sitting there on the sidewalk, she poured the spicy sauce and she took her first bite, and it was heavenly. Yum! The chicken was perfectly crispy on the outside, with a golden crunchy coating that gave way to tender juicy meat inside. The sticky Thai rice was the perfect accompaniment. This cost her 35 baht. For its quality and portion, this meal was so affordable that it cost her almost nothing. After eating, Mama hopped on the train again, and this was another train ride on her journey, taking her closer to her accommodation. Upon arrival to her accommodation, she wasn't able to check into it yet, but it wasn't yet 2 p.m., so she couldn't fully settle in just yet. Instead, she decided to leave her bag at the hotel, and not want to waste time, she set off to explore the neighborhood. She knew there was something special she wanted to do during her stay, and surprisingly enough, she saw this shop that offers a relaxing Thai massage. It's just across her accommodation. Stepping inside, the faint scent of essential oils filled the whole room. The masseuse guided her to a comfortable chair and began the session by gently placing her feet into a basin of warm water infused with fresh lime slices. The warm water was incredibly soothing, and the citrusy aroma of lime added a refreshing touch. It was a perfect start to the rejuvenating experience as the masseuse prepared to work her magic. As the masseuse dried her feet with a soft towel, the masseuse began kneading the tension from her feet and legs, expertly applying pressure to key points. Each movement seemed deliberate, releasing stress with every touch. The rhythmic motions felt both firm and soothing, as though every knot and tightness were being eased away, and the gentle care of the therapist created a sense of trust and relaxation. From the moment she arrived in Bangkok, her feet had been carrying her through the bustling streets and exploring the city's vibrant sights. The foot massage became the perfect remedy, the masseuse focusing on the areas most affected by the long day of walking. Each touch seemed to ease the weariness that had accumulated in her feet. The deep pressure and soothing strokes began to release the tension that had been tightly wound in her soles. Every movement brought instant relief, allowing her to finally relax and unwind. As the massage continued, the soreness and stiffness that had been plaguing her calves started to disappear. By the time the massage came to an end, her feet and legs felt completely rejuvenated, and she felt as though the fatigue of her journey had been erased. It was as if the massage had recharged her body and mind, leaving her feeling more alive and vibrant. With a deep sigh of satisfaction, she paid for the massage and left the parlor. The clock neared 2 p.m. and Mama made her way back to her accommodation. She could finally check in and settle into the room that would feel like her temporary home for the next few days. The check-in process was quick and seamless, and soon she was on her way to her room. The accommodation was a shared space for up to 6 women, and though it was modest, it felt comfortable and safe. It was a great option for travelers who are on a budget while in the city. The comfortable bed, with fresh linens and pillow, promised her a restful night's sleep, and Mama couldn't wait to relax.